This is Otto So and his 1948 DeSoto Suburban.
This car was listed in eBay in year 2005. I bid on it at the very last half a minute. I won a bid, of course. So I brought a one-way ticket with my wife, flew down to Eugene, Oregon. I never seen the car, never hear the car, never touched the car. So I figured out I may as well spend a one-way ticket, went down to Oregon and then see the car. If it is a piece of junk, it just lose the deposit rather than I bring in a piece of junk to Winnipeg and it's going to cost thousands to fix it.
The DeSoto Otto found was tired but fixable.
All the pieces are there. The paint job, I did it in Winnipeg. The seats are all upholstering. The headliner is done. So I think it's a complete car. So we pay the full price for it, and then we start to think about shipping it back to Winnipeg.
Otto wasn't looking for a DeSoto, but when he found this one, he knew what he liked.
I always like old cars in my whole life. Big car, old, and especially when I look for old cars, I like the car with a lot of chrome.
He likes the chrome. Every car he looks at, if the more chrome, the more he likes it.
The 1948 DeSoto came with lots of chrome and lots of car to put it on.
The 1948 DeSoto Suburban is the closest DeSoto had to a station wagon. It's longer than a regular sedan. It had room for 3 rows of passengers, and the back row would fold down to increase the cargo capacity. The cargo floor was also made of wood, so you could slide things in a lot more easily.
This is a 3 rows of seat. It can accommodate 9 passengers. I fit only 6, believe me. Yeah. Don't want to put too many at the back on a jump seat. It looks like it's a station wagon. It got a roof rack. You can roll down the 3rd row of seat and then it is a fully open. When I purchased it, it came with the car as it is now. What I did do is I replaced the dash. I did the dash by myself.
The DeSoto is so big, it wouldn't fit into Otto's garage.
So the total length for this vehicle is about 22 feet long. None of the standard garage is this long to park this car. So it ended up I have to rebuild the garage in order to accommodate this vehicle.
The 48 DeSoto was equipped with a spotlight from an earlier time.
Most of the old cars, they have the spotlight. You can shine onto the house number on the street if you are passing by or whatever.
Spotlights first showed up on the luxury cars of the 1930s, and they were probably used by the chauffeur to decide if he was at the right address out in the country at a country house where you were going to a ball or a party. By the 1940s and 50s, they were really just a styling cue. A lot of aftermarket spotlights didn't even work.
The original engine has been replaced by a more powerful V8.
It got a 383 V8 engine, a rebuilt 71 Ferrari. So it's an older rebuild, but it's a nice rebuilt car. It got a 4-barrel carburetor. It got a 3-speed automatic, power steering, power brake, electronic ignition. You need a big engine to push the car.
After the break, the big old DeSoto gets a starring role on a hit TV show.
Hey!
Otto's 1948 DeSoto got a fresh life in the late 1970s on the hit TV series Happy Days.
This car was in the TV, Happy Days, and Mr. Cunningham owns this car. When I took it home on the way from Eugene, Oregon, people start to stick up their thumb on the gas station. Hey, I have the curiosity to look it up. Later on, I find out it is the Happy Days car.
I don't think there's any other Suburbans around for miles. There are other DeSotos, but this is the only Suburban. And because it's a Happy Days car, it's kind of special.
On happy days, Mr. Cunningham's son Richie was embarrassed to drive his dad's big old DeSoto.
His son's friend, Fonzie, always want to hot rod this car.
Unlike the DeSoto, the Fonz was cool.
For most of the division's history, they were underpowered. They had little engines that produced decent torque, but no real power. They were also fairly large vehicles and comfortable to sit in, lots of headroom, but it made them bulky. Bulky and slow has never been cool.
Hey.
It was the family car. In those days, there was no station wagons, but people had this kind of car if they had a big family and liked to camp and liked to travel around.
In some ways, the 1948 DeSoto Suburban is the precursor to the modern minivan. It was based on a standard sedan, but it was larger. It carried more people, carried lots of stuff, but it wasn't exactly high style.
Thank you. How about we go to the park today?
Well, it's a nice idea, so yeah, let's go. It is totally different because of the long wheelbase. It's almost like you are driving a limousine, especially when you are turning corners. You have to be very careful.
You got a lot of this chrome redone, didn't you, on this car?
Oh yes, when I start to strip the car a few years ago, I start to take inventory on all the chromes. I was so surprised it is 75 pieces of chromes on this DeSoto. 75 pieces.
The 383 V8 replacement engine makes this DeSoto faster than it looks.
Remember in 2005 when we brought this car back?
Whatever can go wrong, it went wrong, such as the speedometer cable broke, and then the gas gauges doesn't work, and the car sucks up a lot of gas on the 383. So we were running out of gas on the highway.
Yes. When we first bought the car, it looked like it was roadworthy, but there was a quiver in the speedometer cable, and about 100 miles into the trip, it ping went. So we had the rest of the trip without a speedometer.
It is the first 383 I drove, and believe me, about the power. So in Montana, of course, it's a straight road, 3-lane divided highway. So I step on the gas, I pass cars, I pass semi.
We brought a GPS with us. The GPS was telling us the speed. We thought we could push on a little further through Montana, even though we ran out of batteries for the GPS. So we were going and following the traffic. Somehow we decided to go a little faster than the traffic.
I feel good because it can go 80 miles, 85 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. And I passed every single car. And then all of a sudden I saw a cherry at the back. I moved to another lane. He moved to the another lane. I moved to another lane. He moved to another lane. I said, oops.
Montana is a pretty high speed limit. I think it was 75 at the time when we were coming. The highway patrol guy, I think he just thought the car was cool. He pulled us over and couldn't believe that this old car was whipping along so fast along the highway. Maybe he thought you were some kind of gangster or something riding this strange car. It was an adventure, so Otto had to do a lot of talking.
And then after he gave me the tickets, he said, "That is the fastest car I've seen today."
Otto's old DeSoto is still turning heads because it's so rare.
It was quite a find. We get a lot of people that really like this car. It wasn't a very common car, was it? Weren't that many made?
No, I did the research according to the internet. In 47, 48, 49, Chrysler only makes 7,500. 7,500 on a 3-year run is not a whole lot of cars.
These days, the DeSoto is so rare, even the actor who played the Fonz on Happy Days is surprised to see it.
When Henry Winkler was in Winnipeg a few years ago, he signed the autograph for this car. He was shocked to see the car again.
Yeah, that's right, because he was at the World of Wheels when you had the car in World of Wheels show. My friends are impressed by the Happy Days car. Our age, Happy Days was quite the show. Everybody watched it.
To me, I've seen a lot of old cars. It still is one of a kind.